What's up, guys? The New Orleans Saints are in a really shitty spot right now, to say the least. And it's not all bad because we're going to get into this later. The NFC South is very, 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 very shit so far this year, and that really works to the favor of the New Orleans Saints. But before we even talk about the division as a whole, the Saints as a team are just disappointing in all facets of their team. I predicted this team to go 12-5, and I think that was a reasonable prediction. And here, as it stands at the end of Week 7, the Saints are 2-5, and they just suffered probably their worst loss of the season to the Arizona Cardinals, 42-34. And I did not recap that game just because after watching that game, I felt so defeated, and I just felt that they didn't even deserve for me to make a recap video. Why would I waste my time actually recapping the game when the Saints went out there and displayed that level of football? And sure, you can talk about the injuries. The Saints are down their top 3 corners, which is very true. The Saints are down their top 3 wide receivers, which is very true. But this is going to go into one of the reasons why I don't think Dennis Allen is the head coach for the future, and why the Saints will never do anything major with Dennis Allen as head coach. Now, you can call me a hypocrite for saying this, because I really thought Dennis Allen was a decent hire at the time. Not the best hire, but I thought Dennis Allen would keep a lot of the continuity with the Saints. Sean Payton leaves, but Dennis Allen has been with us for all these years. He fixed the defense, really made the defense one of the worst units in the league during that 2014-16 era, and made it a consistent, elite, top 5 unit, which we have yet to see this season. You can blame that on injuries or whatnot, but we're going to go ahead and get to that later on. I don't think Dennis Allen has what it takes to be the head coach of the future, and one of the reasons why is because you listen to his press conference after the game. I'm not sure if it was the press conference right after or if it was Friday morning, but a reporter asked him what was his biggest concern with the New Orleans Saints right now, and you know what this dude said? He didn't say that it was because they currently lead the league in penalties. It wasn't because they have the worst turnover differential in the NFL by a fuck ton, and they turn over the ball on offense like crazy. They can't get turnovers on defense, but he blamed it on injuries. He basically said that his biggest concern with the team was the health of his players. The health of his players, not the penalties, not the turnovers, which are the 2 most important things probably to win football games. You have to be disciplined, and you can't fucking turn the ball over consistently, and that's what we did. The game was literally lost, the Cardinals game that I'm talking about, in the final 2 minutes of the game. The first half. When Andy Dalton it throws a pass, it goes right off the hands of Marquez Callaway, and someone picks it up and returns it for a touchdown. And then he goes back out, Andy Dalton does, and he does not see Isaiah Simmons reading the eyes of the quarterback. Yes, he got hit, but he did not read the eyes, or he didn't see Isaiah Simmons in the middle of the field. Basically throws it right to him, tried to fit it off the linebacker, he just could not, and he goes in for another touchdown. It was 28-14. When about 2 minutes before that, it was a 14-6 lead for the Saints. And not to mention that Andy Dalton threw his first interception early in the second quarter into triple coverage in the red zone when you had Chris Olavi wide open underneath. Does he score a touchdown? I'm not sure, but he could have gotten a first down. He could have gotten you close. Most important thing is you throw it to Olavi, the turnover does not happen, and you at least get 3. You at least get 3 and you keep the momentum, but no, you throw a fucking interception to triple coverage to Marquez Callaway. Why? What are you doing? And not to mention the fact that Rasheed Shaheed, who has been a dog so far since being elevated from the practice squad because of Deontay Hardy's injury. By the way, Deontay Hardy could very well be unemployed when he comes back from IR because Rasheed Shaheed has been a dog. But the Saints have to fucking use him. Not just Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael too. Both of y'all get your head out of y'all's asses and use Rasheed Shaheed. He has 2 NFL touches. In the Bengals game, he scored a 40-plus yard jet sweep touchdown on his first NFL touch. And then in the Cardinals game, he caps off the opening drive with a 50-plus yard touchdown reception when he split the safeties and burned them and scored a touchdown. Both of those were in the first quarter of those games too, and he did not see the ball for the rest of the game. At that point, Rasheed Shaheed has to see design plays. Design plays specifically for Rasheed Shaheed just to get him the ball because he is lightning fucking fast. As y'all saw, anytime he gets the ball, he can score. He has 2 touches and 2 touchdowns. And speaking of not using players, Alvin Kamara, who ever since having that rib issue the first few games of the season, he's come back really in the Seattle game, and he's had over 100-plus yards from scrimmage in every single one of those games. He's been really, really good, and you see the Saints not using him in the red zone. That's why the Saints have struggled in the red zone, especially against Cincinnati. And He has no touchdowns this year. 0 touchdowns. It's week 8 upcoming. He has 0 touchdowns. And if you watch the games, it's not because Alvin Kamara isn't good at football. He's been very good, especially the last 3 games. The Saints are not using him in the red zone. And once they get in the red zone, it's like they don't fucking know what to do. They shit themselves because if they get to, like, let's say the 15-yard line, what they're going to do is they're going to run up the middle with Kamara in the most obvious run formation you've ever seen, right? And then they're going to put in fucking Mark Ingram in the game with yet another very obvious run formation. They're going to run again and get about a yard, maybe lose some yards. And then by that point, it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9. And then the Saints, they can't fucking convert on 3rd and long in the red zone because they fucking suck. And you're going to see Andy Dalton throw an interception or them not get the first down, be too conservative, something fucking stupid. And that's an issue we've seen with Pete Carmichael all season long. His tendencies are so stupid, especially early on in the season, the first 4 weeks. It's gotten a little bit better as you've seen the Saints actually establish rhythm on offense, but the Saints run the ball on first down, run the ball on second down, and then it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. That's exactly what happens every time, and it's so annoying. Now, as depleted as the Saints have been, I really got to give them credit for the fact that they've actually found ways to move the ball on offense when they've had almost like a second-string offense. The Saints have averaged over 30 points per game since Andy Dalton has started. Now, I still don't think Andy Dalton should be the starter. I really want to see Jameis back because Jameis healthy is obviously the best option. If you watch Saints football last year and even the Falcons game, now I know he was injured during that fourth quarter comeback, but I'm still going to count that because you can't just write that off. Jameis Winston is very clearly the best option for the Saints. Andy Dalton is just mid, and then he has nights. He basically had a Jameis Winston Tampa Bay game against the Cardinals, throwing 3 fucking interceptions. But he had 370 yards and 4 touchdowns. No, he's the reason we lost. He's the reason we lost. Now, the defense is... I haven't even gotten to the defense yet. It's been 7 minutes. Holy shit. The defense has been absolutely fucking horrible. Against the Bengals, they sold. They let Joe Burrow do whatever he wants. This game, yes, you can say they're injured. That's fine against the Cardinals. But they still allowed 28 points. And whenever the offense got cold, the defense could not pick it up in the second half, and the defense just has not been good. And I'm not sure that's a testament to Dennis Allen's not being good. It could be the injuries, obviously, when you don't have Lattimore going up against Jamar Chase and D-Hop. That's going to hurt your team. But what about the Seahawks game when Lattimore was healthy and the Seahawks put up 32 points? Now, yes, you can say Geno Smith is very good at football this year. He really has. But this defense is supposed to be elite. Tyrann Mathieu, what has he done this year? He has the only interception for our team. And I haven't even got into that. The Saints have only 1 interception in 7 games on defense. That's horrible. That is god-fucking-awful. And Tyrann Mathieu has the only 1. And besides that 1 interception, what has he done this year? He's been constantly getting run over. He's missed tackles. We saw him miss that tackle against Jamar Chase. And he just hasn't been the game-changing safety we need him to be. Marcus May has been pretty solid. I can't give him too much shit. But Adebo has been injury-prone to start the year. He has been dealing with that injury ever since training camp. Just hasn't been good, really, when he has been on the field. Now, that could be because he's playing through injury, but something's got to give. Bradley Roby has been really bad to start off this year, and he's injured. Now, Alontae Taylor looked really good in the Cardinals game. He got targeted only 4 times and only allowed 1 catch for 17 yards. And he had a really good physical play on D-Hop early in the game that really kind of let me know that Alontae Taylor is pretty legit. So I got to give him credit there, but that was my little mini rant. I do apologize. The Saints are 2-5, and I'm not a happy camper. That's pretty much all of my rant I had from Thursday and Friday, let out on Sunday night. I'm going to hopefully maybe get this out Monday or Tuesday. But this wasn't supposed to be such a one-sided video for how bad the Saints are and why they're in deep shit. But there is a little bit of good, as we saw from this NFL Sunday today as I'm recording this. Tampa Bay lost to the Carolina Panthers 21-3 today in a really odd game in which P.J. Walker actually looked pretty good. And the Carolina Panthers are a tanking team. They pretty much blew everything up. They traded Robbie Anderson. They fired Matt Rule. They traded Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers. And they destroyed the Bucs in this game. The Bucs look awful. They're 3-4, and they lead the division. Now, yes, I talked all that shit about the Panthers, and I'm aware the Panthers did beat us, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. The Saints are 2-5, and they're currently last in the NFC South, but there is very much hope because the Atlanta Falcons took a big fat L to the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Falcons have actually been a pleasant surprise this year, even though they're 3-4. This was really the first game of the season in which the Falcons just got outplayed from start to finish in every facet. But besides those games, the Falcons have looked very competent, and that the game we won against the Falcons is looking better and better every day because of the fact the Falcons are actually not horrible. They're not a top 5 pick team that I thought they were going to be. Same with the Seahawks. Thought they were going to be ass too, and they're actually looking pretty good with Geno Smith. They just got a big win against the Chargers today, but I don't know why I'm talking about the Seahawks. Well, I know why. It's because the only other win we have. But right now, the Bucs are in first place at 3-4. The Falcons are in second place at 3-4. The Panthers are in third at 2-5, and the Saints are in fourth at 2-5. But if all those teams lose next week and the Saints win on Sunday, now I know that's a lot to ask for because the Saints have not won consistently, but the Saints are probably going to get a lot of key pieces back with this 10 days of rest after the Cardinals game. Jameis Winston could be back. Michael Thomas could be back. Jarvis Landry could be back. And maybe most importantly, Marshawn Lattimore could be back, who we've been really missing the past few games, or the past couple games, rather. So if Lattimore's back, that's huge. Obviously, just getting Michael Thomas or Jarvis Landry back, those are huge, but really Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston. Having Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry back would be absolutely huge for the Raiders game. The Raiders just won against the Houston Texans today. I think it was 38-20, something like that. They looked pretty good in the fourth quarter. But the Raiders have been disappointing this year. Their coaching has not been very good. But we're going to get into the preview of that Raiders game later on in the week. The Saints really need to win and start winning soon because the NFC South is wide the fuck open, and the Saints have just not been able to find it. So, like I said, the Saints have been horrible to start this year, and everything you expected of them has been pretty much the opposite. But there is plenty of time to turn this around because 2-5, it looks like it's over, but it's not because they're only one game out of first place. So, we'll see what happens going forward. Thank you all for listening to my rant. I really felt like it was necessary. But it's important to keep in mind, even though the first 8 minutes of this video, all I did was rant, the Saints can definitely get this right. They can definitely, get on a win streak, get some players healthy. But I need to see Dennis Allen actually have some good moments as a head coach because he just has not been it so far this year, and there's definitely time to turn this around. So Dennis Allen, get your head out of your ass and start to pick up some wins. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.